This is an $180 mouse with no moving parts. No mechanical switches, no physical click. You press the button and nothing. It feels like pressing on air. Logitech says this thing is 30 milliseconds faster than anything else on the market. That sounds absolutely insane. So I tested it, and the number I got was not at all what I was expecting. Basically, every mouse for the last 40 years has had the same basic mechanism. You press a button, metal touches metal, a signal fires, and that's your basic mechanical switch. Some newer mice replace that with an optical sensor. No contact, just a beam of light that gets broken. Both of those approaches are trying to solve the same exact problem. How fast can we detect that you pressed the button? Logitech looked at that problem and said, "We're solving the wrong part." The switch detection was never the slow part. The slow part is the distance your finger has to travel before it even reaches the switch. So, they removed the switch entirely. What's inside this mouse instead is an inductive coil under each mouse button and a haptic motor. The coil measures how far you're pressing down in real time, like an analog signal. This is very similar to the Hall effect switches we get on modern gaming keyboards. Whenever you hit whatever depth you've set as your actuation point, the haptic motor thumps up at your finger to simulate the feeling of a click. There is no physical click happening. It's just a measurement and a vibration. It's kind of similar to those haptic MacBook trackpads, if you've ever tried one of those. Logitech calls this system HITS, or HITS for short. It's the haptic inductive trigger system. And the big thing it unlocks, which we've only ever had on keyboards before, is adjustable actuation. 10 levels, and level 1 fires at around 0.1 millimeters. Level 10, you're pushing it a little further than you would a regular mouse. The default on most mechanical switches is roughly level 6 or 7. So anything above that, and you're getting an input faster than any traditional switch physically can. Okay, theory is one thing. I wanted to see actual numbers. I ran a pure reaction time test on humanbenchmark.com. It's nothing skill based, it's literally just a color that appears on your screen, and it's already in your mouse click, and you click the moment you see it. Raw reaction time only. So I did 10 rounds on the HyperX Pulsefire Haste first. Here's every single number. The average turned out to be 186 milliseconds. Then I swapped to the Logitech Superstrike. The HITS system, level 2, on the left button. That's the lowest usable setting without misclicks. I also did 10 rounds on this, and here's every single number. The numbers look much lower than the regular mouse, but you'll notice one outlier, the 197 milliseconds. To be honest, that was probably a distraction, and I'm gonna leave it in because I'm not gonna cherry pick my data. Even with it included though, the average is 165 milliseconds. 165 milliseconds against 186 on the HyperX. That's literally 20 milliseconds faster. No aiming, no skill, just straight up reaction time. That's real, that is not placebo. Now, Logitech claims up to 30 milliseconds, and in fairness, our best case numbers actually back that up. My fastest HyperX round was 175 milliseconds. My fastest Superstrike round was 144. That is a 31 millisecond difference. But to be honest, averages are what matter. And on average, across 10 rounds each, the improvement was around 20 milliseconds. At level 2 on the Superstrike mouse, it's not even the most aggressive setting. Whether 20 milliseconds changes your game depends on one thing: how close your reaction time already is to the line between hitting and missing. So this is where it gets a little complicated. Here's the uncomfortable truth about a 20 millisecond improvement. When you're in a real firefight, you're not reacting from zero. You're already pre-aimed, pre-tensed, and your finger is already partially pressing down on the button. You've already closed most of the pre-travel naturally. So, the real-world gainer is smaller than 20 milliseconds in pure reaction terms. That said though, I did notice something after a few sessions on the Superstrike. I started trusting my clicks more and more. I clicked, it registered, and I moved on. There was no second guessing. On a normal mouse, there's a tiny moment of uncertainty. Did that register? But on this mouse, that moment completely disappears. Now, is that really the mouse or is just getting used to new gear? Honestly, I can't tell you with certainty. Placebo is very real with peripherals. What I can tell you is the reaction time numbers are not placebo. Those are just hard numbers. Alright, one thing I don't love about this mouse though. If I'm being honest about the good, I have to be honest about this. For me, the biggest problem, the post-travel. At level 2, once the click registers, the button keeps on moving. It feels slightly spongy because your brain expects the button to stop when the click happens. It doesn't. Second of all, durability is kind of unknown. These are completely brand new switches. Nobody has owned one long enough to know if the actuation points drift or the haptic motors wear out. Anyone saying this thing is bulletproof is just guessing. And fourth, it is 62 grams, it's very front heavy, and it's the same exact pro shape that Logitech has been using for years. Honestly, if you don't like that shape, then nothing else on this mouse will matter. So, $180. Is this thing worth it? Here's who I'd say yes to. If you game on the Pro X Super Light shape and you like it, and you play FPS games where tap firing matters, and you've also optimized everything else already, sensitivity, crosshair placement, and your setup, and you want an actual measurable top 1% edge, our tests gave you a 20 millisecond edge over any other regular mouse, and that is real. But here's who I'd tell to wait on this mouse. If you're on a budget, this mouse is not for you. $180 is a very steep price to pay. A mouse that's basically just new tech. Also, if you don't like the Pro shape, this mouse is definitely not for you. The Pro shape is definitely a very unique shape and not many people are used to it. It is a much smaller mouse than a regular one would be. And another reason would be if your game is tracking based and not click timing based. A game like Overwatch is the perfect example. You don't really get much of a difference in gameplay if you are 20 milliseconds faster than another player. Most of Overwatch is tracking. You are tracking enemies that jump up in the sky, then move around haphazardly, and honestly this mouse just won't help with that. And honestly, if you want to see if a Chinese company ships the same tech for $60 in about 3 months, because based on how the peripheral industry moves, they probably will. And this is my honest take. To be honest, it does what it says. It's not 30 milliseconds in a real game, but 20 milliseconds in a controlled test, transparent data, 10 rounds each. That's more than most $180 peripherals can claim. If you found this useful, a subscribe means a lot. We are a small channel and everyone counts. And if you have a number from the human benchmark test, drop it in the comments. I want to see where people are landing.